evening, and it's just past 6 o'clock on Saturday the 5th of February, and welcome to this week's news programme. And in the news this week, the latest statistics on COVID-19 have been released on the 4th of February, yesterday, from Public Health Dorset, and it reveals that infection rates have continued to rise gradually over the past week in Dorset. In both council areas, Dorset and Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, cases remain lowest in the over 65s and highest amongst school-aged children. The number of people in hospital in Dorset with COVID-19 has increased over the last week from 61 until 90. And so, just some of the recent data. In the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole area, the case rate per 100,000 people is 1,134 compared to 886 last week. And in the Dorset Council area, 972 per 100,000 compared to 793 last week. So the cases are going up. Confirmed cases, Bournemouth, Poole and Christchurch area, 4,503. And Dorset 3,692, and as we say, hospital admissions or those in hospital up from 61 to 90. So it's still very much an increasing situation for COVID-19 in Dorset. So whilst restrictions have been taken away, it's still obviously sensible to maintain distance and not get involved in too many indoor large gatherings without good ventilation, and if possible wear those face masks when mixing with people. From Monday the 21st of February to Saturday the 26th of February, Shire Hall Museum in Dorchester, and let's get a picture up there, is hosting a range of seaside themed activities for children for half term. Based in Dorchester, Shire Hall Museum brings over 200 years of justice and injustice to life. With interactive galleries, immersive cells and the impressive courtroom, there is something for everyone at the Shire Hall Museum. For February half-term only, children can visit Shire Hall Museum for just £1. Included with entry, children will be able to take part in a super seaside spotting trail and craft activities. Alongside the seaside activities, visitors can also explore Shire Hall Museum. Families can use interactive iPad guides to discover the stories of children and adults who were tried at Shire Hall, as well as also try on hats, wigs and gowns on display in the historic courtroom. Shire Hall Cafe will be open all throughout half-term, and you can enjoy locally sourced brunches, daily changing lunches and delicious cakes in Shire Hall's airy mezzanine cafe. Children's meals and high chairs are also available. For more information, go to their website at shirehallDorset.org. So there we are, there's something to do for half-term week. Residents next to a major demolition project site on Portland are angry that large amounts of dust have been covering houses and cars in the area. Demolition work is underway at the Royal Manor Arts College site in Weston Road, Portland, and this started back in September last year, and eventually there will be 100 new homes on the site. Demolition work on the former school has now been completed, but now workers have started to crush the rubble to make hardcore for the site, and it seems that this is being done without a water spray system that should be in place to keep the levels of dust down. Residents in nearby St George's Road have said now that the building has been demolished, workers have started crushing the rubble and it's creating very dense dust which looks like fog. The dust is building up and people are having to wipe their car windscreens down in the morning. Residents have been told that by on-site staff that there are issues with the water pressure, meaning they can't spray the dust to keep levels down. A spokesman from Homes England, who own the site, said Homes England has commissioned a contractor to carry out the demolition works on the former Royal Manor School site. We acknowledge that the works are causing issues for local residents and we have raised the issues with the contractor. Walter UK Limited, who are the contractor on site, have said water pressure issue on the site was behind the lack of damping down, which caused large amounts of dust falling onto cars and homes. Dean Williams, who's the project manager for Walter UK, said there was no water pressure on the site, which we have now fixed. We have since brought more resources to site, including fan units and jet washers, to minimise dust. The fact that there's also been a lack of rain hasn't helped the situation, but we're now doing everything we can to dampen down the dust. So hopefully that will have resolved the issue there for those people close to the site on Portland. A Weymouth man has decided to fund a local bus service from his own pocket for the second time, when local bus operator first cancelled the Sunday X53 service for the winter. Local man Alan Williams previously financed first X53 service between Bridport and Weymouth in 2019 and has chosen to do it again. This year he has arranged for the service to be extended to Lyme Regis because he believes the route is important to people who use it. Mr. Williams said, "I just want to give the community their bus service and to encourage people to use it more. People still need to travel on Sundays. Some people have got places to go or they have work and don't have cars, so this service is a lifeline. I hope it will also encourage bus companies to keep such services running." Operator First had been running the service on Sundays, but these were stopped for the winter from January the 16th and will resume again in March when the summer timetable starts. Mr. Williams opted to set up and fund the service to fill the gap out of his own pocket. 2 services are now running each Sunday until March. Local transport lobby group, West Dorset Western Area Transport Action Group, welcomed the move. Their chairman, Bob Driscoll, said the Sunday service X53 will continue, but reduce from 4 to 2 round-trip journeys between Weymouth and Lyme Regis as a result of Mr. Alan Williams agreeing to support this service financially. "I hope as many people as possible will use this service for day out, thereby helping us to prove the need for a bus service 7 days a week all year round." So, if you fancy a day out on a Sunday and it's a nice day, do look at going along the X53 route from Weymouth to Bridport or down to Lyme Regis, particularly if you haven't got a car. It would be an ideal opportunity for a day out, and support that service that local man Alan Williams is funding, and prove the point that it is a service that is needed on a Sunday all year round. Now, the government's Treasury Department has revealed that there are 91 unclaimed estates for people who have died in Dorset with no will or identified relatives, and 6 of these are in Weymouth and Portland. Inheriting an estate means gaining a share of anything of money and property through to personal possessions when somebody dies. And when a person dies without leaving a will and there appear to be no family members, the estate eventually passes to the Crown as ownerless property. In general, estates held on a list can be claimed for up to 12 years, and that's when they will then pass to the Crown. So, I'm going to mention some names. If you are related to any of these people who have died in the Weymouth area, you are entitled to try and make a claim against their estate rather than it going to the Crown. Now, the names we've got are Helena Barrett, Albert George Carter, Felix Lepard, Judas Strumskis, and yes, the weird name at the end, and this is the name, Mr. Mouth of Truth. Obviously somebody who's changed their name at some stage. So Helena Barrett, Albert George Carter, Felix Lepard, Judas Strumkus, and Mr. Mouth of Truth. Now, if any of you are related to those people, do get in touch with us here at White Regis TV, and we will point you in the right direction to get hold of the Treasury, and so you can make a claim against those estates. Southern Gas Networks, SGN, and West Utilities have partnered with Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue to keep people across the area safe from the dangers of carbon monoxide. The 2 utilities will provide 25,000 standard carbon monoxide detectors over the next 5 years, which will be distributed to local homeowners across both counties free of charge through Dorset and Wilts Fire and Rescue Safe and Well programme. The funding for the alarms has been secured via the Vulnerability and Carbon Monoxide Allowance, which is run by the energy regulator Ofgem to support consumers in vulnerable situations. Clive Book, who is the head of emergency services at Wells and West Utilities, said, "We are delighted to partner with Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service and SGN to ensure more people are kept safe from the deathly dangers of carbon monoxide. We do everything we can to raise awareness of the dangers of carbon monoxide, the silent killer, and urge people to follow simple steps to keep themselves and their loved ones safe. Having an audible carbon monoxide alarm is one of the simplest things they can do, and we are pleased that more people will have access to this potentially life-saving piece of equipment." Andy Woods, who is the Safe and Well team leader for partnerships at Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue, said, under the new agreement we will have funding for 5,000 standard carbon monoxide alarms and 500 wireless interlinked carbon monoxide alarms every year. It also means that we can offer the additional support of the wireless interlinked devices that link up with hearing impaired systems, which use a strobe light and vibrating pad to alert deaf or hearing impaired people about carbon monoxide and fires. And this is something that we've not been able to do for some while. Now, carbon monoxide poisoning kills around 50 people a year in England and Wales and hospitalises many more. In the UK, there are more than 4,000 visits to A&E for treatment for carbon monoxide poisoning each year. And this can often lead lasting neurological damage. Even low levels of exposure over an extended period can cause serious health issues, including brain injuries. Now, looking out for carbon monoxide if you haven't got a sensor, symptoms include headaches, tiredness, nausea, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, and in extreme cases, loss of consciousness. So, Dorset and Wilts Fire and Rescue are obviously urging you to have a carbon monoxide detector and to contact them if you need assistance with that. But they're asking people to make sure they know the symptoms of carbon monoxide, that they do get an alarm, and make sure that their gas appliances are also serviced annually, things like gas boilers, gas cookers and gas water heaters, to make sure that they are not putting deadly carbon monoxide into their properties. And of course, if you suspect that somebody is suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning, call 999 without delay. Now, in the past I've actually dealt with a couple of people with carbon monoxide poisoning, and I can say how deadly it is. Now, for more information about carbon monoxide, you can go to the Dorset and Wilts Fire and Rescue site at www.dwfire.org.uk/carbon-monoxide. That's www.dwfire.org.uk/carbon-monoxide. There we go. Now, the main contractor working on the Dorset County Hospital construction project, Wilmot Dixon, recently donated 600 trees to be planted at the rapidly emerging new community woodland at Kings Road in Dorchester. But the input didn't stop there. Wilmot Dixon team members then helped to plant the trees during a fun morning alongside staff from Dorset Town Council and volunteers from People First Dorset, Employ My Ability, the GAP Ecotherapy Project, Thomas Hardy School and Dorset Mind, the local mental health charity. Richard Poulter, who's the Managing Director at Wilmot Dixon's Central South region, said, "We are proud to be partnering with Dorset Town Council to improve biodiversity in the area by planting 600 trees in the town as part of our ongoing work at Dorset County Hospital. Delivering an environmentally net gain is a key ambition for us. And we strive to support the rewilding space for local people to connect with nature and biodiversity enhancements. These trees are just one of the many schemes being undertaken by Wilmot Dixon. We are planting more than 10,000 trees a year over the next decade as a pledge in the Better Planet theme of the company's 2030 Now or Never sustainability strategy. The trees are a mix of native species and were selected for their benefits to the wider environment by providing food and habitat for birds and other animals, so increasing biodiversity in an area that was previously just short mown grass with very little wildlife value. The community woodland is at Kings Road and it comprises of groups of native trees with the planting of woodland wildflowers planned for the future. A new circular grass woodland walk was also created this winter that is flat and open for everyone to enjoy. So if you're up in the Dorchester area, why not pop along to Kings Road and have a look at the community woodland. I shall certainly pop and have a look when I'm next up there. Now, a man has been jailed for 3 years after admitting grooming and engaging in sexual activity with a Weymouth teenage girl he had met online. Joshua McLaughlin, 24, and from Cleethorpes in Lincolnshire, was sentenced at Bournemouth Crown Court on Friday the 28th of January after pleading guilty at a previous hearing to a number of offences including grooming, indecent pictures and sexual activity with a child. He was also made subject of a sexual harm prevention order for an indefinite period and placed on the sex offenders register. Now, the victim, who was aged 14 from Weymouth, had told the offender her age at the time of the offences and contacted McLaughlin in September 2020 after randomly adding him and one of his friends on Snapchat. Following a period of exchanges online, the offender met the child in a hotel in Weymouth in December 2020. The victim's family found out about what had been going on in January 2021, and he was subsequently arrested and charged. Now, the message here is, if you've been the victim of rape or sexual assault, or you think that anybody has been engaged inappropriately with children online or grooming them, then please call 101 and let Dorset Police know. They have a special sexual referral unit with trained police officers that can deal with this very, very sensitively. And of course, you can also contact Crime Stoppers anonymously as well to report this sort of offence. And there is a special contact number for the Shores Sexual Assault Referral Centre if you wish to speak to them. That is 0800 970 9954. So there we go. That's good news that somebody's actually been detected and dealt with there. Now, a teenager from Weymouth has beaten off stiff competition to be named one of the best young chefs in the country. Alani Cook of Weymouth College has won a prestigious 3-year specialised chef scholarship after finishing first in her age category, and that was the 16 to 18 years age category, at the Inspiring Culinary Generations Aspiring Student Chefs Final. Oh, that's a mouthful, isn't it? The Inspiring Culinary Generations Aspiring Student Chefs Final on January the 28th. The 17-year-old is now on her way to becoming one of the country's culinary elites after producing her competition-winning dish, which was, well, this sounds really good, pan-fried venison accompanied with celeriac puree and fondant, cavallo nero with a blackberry red wine juice. Well, that sounds very good. Well done to Alani there. Alani said, "This is my first ever competition and I was really nervous. Cooking competitively in an unfamiliar environment was pretty strange, but I was so focused on my dishes. I did have a plan going forward after my course at Weymouth College, but winning the Specialised Chef Scholarship is going to change that plan, as I get the opportunity to experience areas of specialisation through the scholarship that I would have had to work extremely hard to access otherwise. I'm really going to make the most of this." Now, launched in 2012, Inspiring Culinary Generations is a national cookery competition which is sponsored by Teflon, the non-stick coatings company. The competition offers the chance for non-professional cooks to gain recognition for their cooking ability at home, and from those attending school and catering college to showcase what they have learnt. Ashley Perry, who's the chef lecturer at Weymouth College, said, "I'm so proud of Alani. Competitions like this one allow you to work with other aspiring chefs from across the UK, sharing ideas and an experience, and very importantly, help to build practical emotional resilience. You'll make mistakes in competition and your service, and it's what you learn and how you take it forward that is really important." Getting to the finals at all was a great achievement in itself, and the judges added that the standard across the board this year was the best they had seen in a long time. So well done to Alani there, and all the best for the future on her 3-year scholarship. Dorset Police have joined officers from Wiltshire Police and Hampshire Police to target cross-border rural criminality. On Thursday the 27th of January, officers from Dorset Police, Wiltshire Police, Hampshire Police and the Dorset Police and Crime Commissioner David Siddick came together to support a national operation developed to target hair coursing and cross-border criminality. It was called Op Galileo, and it's a national operation supported by many police forces across the UK and by many agencies, including the National Farmers Union, making life even more difficult for hair coursers. Almost half of Dorset's population live in rural areas, so an effective police response to reports of crime and antisocial behaviour affecting the rural community is essential to helping to keep our communities safe. By working with other forces across the country, we can share information and intelligence on offenders who cause the greatest harm to our rural communities, Dorset Police have told us. Inspector Chrissy Plumley of the Rural Crime Team said, "Our rural communities play a vital part in helping us gather intelligence, and we really value their support. Any vehicles identified through intelligence are available resources such as ANPR and the Forces Drone Unit, or that were suspected to be used in rural crime, were proactively stopped and searched as part of the operation. During the operation, the Rural Crime Team officers responded to several incidents, including a report of poaching in progress in the Corfe Castle area. A vehicle was stopped and 2 men were arrested on suspicion of poaching. Dead game birds and weapons were reportedly found following a search of their vehicle. Their vehicle was seized and they were subsequently interviewed and released under investigation pending further inquiries. Now, of course, you can report any rural crimes anonymously through Crime Stoppers 0800 783 0137, or of course by calling Dorset Police on 101. Now, Weymouth Town Council have said, could you be a town councillor? A vacancy exists for a town councillor in the Westham West Ward on Weymouth Town Council, with an election due to take place in April. The vacancy follows the announcement of Trevor Morgan that he has resigned due to ill health. Weymouth Town Council would obviously like to thank Trevor for all his hard work on behalf of Westham West residents and wish him all the best for the future. And from last Monday, the Town Council launched the Make a Difference campaign to find the next Town Councillor to represent Westham West. Now, Councillor Colin Huckle, who's the Mayor of Weymouth, has said, "We are calling on undiscovered community heroes who are passionate about Weymouth and Westham West in particular to put themselves forward to be elected to sit on Weymouth Town Council." The work that our Town Council does is remarkably diverse, from helping to get projects like the Marsh Skate Park and parkour area off the ground, to representing the needs of your community and making decisions on services and projects the Council would like to take forward. Being a Town Councillor can be incredibly rewarding. You can make a difference to local communities and help improve residents' lives. So why not stand for election? Well, there you go. If you're part of the community who thinks you would like to be a local town councillor, I'm sure if you get in touch with Weymouth Town Council, somebody there will be absolutely pleased to tell you a little bit about it. And then maybe you could consider standing for election in April. Now, have you ever fancied driving a bus? Well, First Wessex are inviting transport enthusiasts or anybody who would like to be a bus driver to a special event in Weymouth on Saturday the 12th of February between 9 AM and 1 PM. It will be held at the Weymouth Mount Pleasant Park and Ride. It will also give those who may be thinking of becoming a bus driver the chance to try before applying for a job as a bus driver. So they also say to apply for a job as a bus driver, you'll need to have a car driving licence with no more than 3 points, have driven for at least 6 months. So if you are interested in that and like to attend and have a go at driving a bus to see if that's a career for you, you can book a slot by calling 07814 138 361. That's 07814 138 361. And finally, have you ever wished that you'd had the chance to have a look round Rufus Castle on Portland? Well, Portland Museum now has a virtual tour of the castle, enabling you to look around. You can go inside, you can fly over the top and get a bird's eye view, and you can explore all aspects of the castle. Now, this is a great way to visit the castle, which is now in a precarious way and doesn't enable people to visit it on the ground because of health and safety. The tour was funded by the Art Fund and Guildhall Live, and those who go on the virtual tour can enjoy a guided version by archaeologist Gordon Lepard. Now, Rufus Castle is also known as Bow and Arrow Castle, and it was first built in the 11th century by King William II, known as Rufus. And it was extensively rebuilt in the 15th century, so it is one of the oldest buildings in the area. So I had a look at that earlier on their website, really, really good. So if you're interested in having a look on the museum website at this interactive tour, and you can literally look around 360 and fly over the top and get to the commentary, etc. It's really, really good. So pop along to the museum website, and that's at www.portlandmuseum.online/Rufus. That's where you get to the virtual tour. www.portlandmuseum.online/Rufus. And well done to everybody at Portland Museum for actually doing that really, really good guided tour of Rufus Castle there. Now, on to our first feature this week. And tomorrow is the 70th anniversary of the Queen's accession to the throne on the death of her father. And this week, Janet Hall is looking back over those 70 years and the marking of the Queen's accession tomorrow.
Do you remember the day when King George VI died and Queen Elizabeth acceded to the throne? King George had died in his sleep at the royal estate of Sandringham. The one who this news affected most of all was, of course, Princess Elizabeth, as she was then. She had been well loved by her father and loved him greatly. And now, as the oldest of the king's two daughters, she was next in line to the throne and would succeed him. In fact, she succeeded him that day, straight after his death. She was in Kenya at the time, and her life must have changed beyond recognition. The couple had been set to travel on to Australia and New Zealand, but the tour was cancelled and Her Majesty returned to the UK without delay. This year will mark the 70th anniversary of the Queen acceding to the throne. Her Majesty usually chooses to mark the day at the Sandringham estate in Norfolk, where King George VI died. This year may be more poignant than others, as it will be the first that the Queen has spent without her husband at her side. It is likely to be a much more subdued affair than the public celebrations which will follow this summer, with the Queen spending the day in quiet, sombre reflection. However, later in the year, the public will get to enjoy the celebrations and festivities to commemorate the Queen's historic reign. As well as a pudding competition and a new city being named, events and initiatives will take place throughout the year, culminating in a 4-day UK bank holiday weekend from Thursday the 2nd to Sunday the 5th of June. The bank holiday will provide an opportunity for communities and people throughout the United Kingdom to come together to celebrate the historic milestone. For 70 years is a long time, the longest reign of any British monarch, and it has been a time of great change. Just look at these changes that have happened over those 70 years. The changes in your life. Were you even born in 1952? If you were, it would be lovely to see a photograph of what you used to look like on that memorable day. If you are too young for that, lucky you, at what point in those 70 years did you make your appearance? What are the great landmark occasions in your life? We're trying to collect memories and photographs of how the last 70 years have affected the lives of the people of Wyke Regis. So please get involved. To send in information or to find out more about how you can help, here are my contact details. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. So get thinking. Bye for now.
Thank you very much, Janet, there, talking about the Queen's accession to the throne, the 70th anniversary of it tomorrow. And lots of celebrations going on later in the year, particularly over that special bank holiday weekend. Now, something else was marked just over a week ago, in last week, on the 27th of January, and that was Holocaust Memorial Day. Remember those awful things that happened over the time of the World Wars to the Jewish community. Now, Liz Selby from Dorset Museum is now going to tell us about a gentleman called Harry Grenville, who was one of those people who came to the UK and settled in Dorset. And there is a display in respect of Harry at Dorset Museum at the moment. And when Harry was alive, he spent time at the museum talking to many children about the Holocaust and the effects on the Jewish community. So we'll hear from Liz now.
Hi, I'm Liz Selby, Interim Director of Dorset Museum. Today we're remembering Harry Grenville, who came to Britain on the Kindertransport. He was one of a number of children who came to Britain during the war and was able to seek refuge here. Harry initially lived in Cornwall, but towards the end of the war he moved to Dorset. He was trained as an interpreter and worked at POW camps in the local area after the war. He went on to talk about his experiences to school children and other people in the local community. Harry found out after the war that his parents had died at Auschwitz. On display at the museum we have a spoon that was given to Harry at his circumcision in 1926, and it's inscribed with his birth name, Heinz. Today we're remembering all of those people who died during the Holocaust and other genocides, and all of those who've been impacted by these events.
There we go. That's about a guy called Harry Grenville who settled in Dorset, who came on the Kindertransport and spent time in his life here telling people about the Holocaust, etc. Now, that's just one thing that is at Dorset Museum. Of course, Dorset Museum is there. It's had a massive investment over the last few years. And fantastic new displays, and if you're looking for somewhere to visit, I highly recommend a visit there, particularly if you've got family and friends coming to the area for holiday or to visit you and you're looking for somewhere to go. Why not take them to Dorset Museum and put that as one of the places on your list to take them while they're with you. Now, turning to another local place, we often talk about events going on at the Knowth Fort in Weymouth. And that's a historic venue which has changed significantly over the last few decades, from basically being an abandoned and an uncared for building to now an excellent visitor attraction with lots of interesting things to do, lots of interesting things to see, lots of artifacts and things there, and it's a good visitor attraction for people visiting the area, lots of things for local people to go and see and get involved there as well, and obviously schools pay a lot of time going there for visits as well. Now, the fort relies heavily on volunteers to run and maintain the place, and one such group of volunteers at the Knowth Fort is the Knowth Fort Garrison. Now, these are the people that dress up in period military uniform and support a lot of the events that go on at the Knowth to give it some authenticity and make it a better experience for you. Now, last week the Knowth Fort Garrison had a recruitment day, and I thought it would be good to share with you a bit of film of some of the things they do and talking to one of the garrison, and maybe you could think about volunteering for the Knowth Fort, or maybe you would like to get involved with the work of the garrison. So let's just hear a little bit about it now.
My name is James.
Okay, and what are you doing here today?
I am representing a corporal of the British Army Rifle Brigade from 1850s to 1856.
Okay, and what did you do here last night?
Last night we slept here in this barracks with my fellow riflemen of the regiment and our families.
So it doesn't normally look quite like this. You put some things around the place. Can you explain what we've got here and why it's different to normal?
Of course, yeah. So what we've got here, from the canvas section there through to the left hand side, is we have the beds of the standard British soldier. So these are single men who have joined the army and serving. And then on the other side of the canvas sheet, you can see family quarters. So these are the lucky men who, service riflemen who have their wives and children with them, and they are segregated from single men.
Great stuff. What's over in that corner?
Swinging round to here, we can see there's a little bit more luxury here. This is the officers' quarters. So we've got a double bed, the officer and his wife, and
servant.
Yeah, and he's Batman. And you can see the officer's writing desk for writing out orders.
And how far have you come from to be here today?
We've come from all over the country. So I have come from Suffolk.
Yeah.
And my father over there, Andy,
Okay.
he's come from Falmouth.
Right.
So we're literally spread all over the country, and we come together at events to put on display and bring Victorian Britain to locations all over the country.
Great stuff. Okay, thank you very much.
So there you go. If you like to get dressed up, there's some volunteers there that have come down to help with an event at the Knowth Fort and dressing up. And that's the sort of thing that the garrison do. They put on their military uniforms. And there's another group there that fire the guns, etc. as well. So if that's of interest to you, get in touch with us and we'll put you in touch with the Knowth Fort. You know, you may not want to be dressing up and doing things, but you may want to help run the visitor attraction as a volunteer and show people around and help sell tickets or whatever. So if you've got some spare time and you'd like to do that, I'm sure they'll be very grateful to hear from you. And remember, the Knowth Fort last year was voted as the best small visitor attraction in Dorset by Dorset Tourism. So well done to them. Now it's that time in the programme where we go over to the Met Office to see the national weather forecast. And this week we are joined by Alex Deakin.
We're in for a windy weekend, and for some it'll be a wintry weekend also. Snow and ice potential hazards, particularly across western Scotland. This weather front introduced colder air, more weather fronts then toppling in through Saturday and spreading south, bringing clouds and mostly rain. Tightly packed isobars suggesting it's going to be windy throughout this weekend. Let's rewind and put the temperature profile on. You can see how this cold front introduced the colder conditions for Friday. You probably noticed that chill. These weather fronts will introduce milder air for a time for most of us on Saturday before this next cold front driving south again reintroduces that cold air across northern Britain on Sunday. So that's going to feel pretty cold, and with that cold air and the snow showers packing in, we have another Met Office warning in place that lasts through Saturday night and most of Sunday. The snow down to low levels, a couple of centimetres likely to build up in a few places, more than that over the hills. Further south, it's looking grey and damp across England and Wales to start with on Sunday, but brighter skies should develop, certainly over the Midlands, northeast England. There will be showers then coming and going. Those showers, as I've said, of snow across Scotland, more of a mixture for Northern Ireland of hail, sleet, but some snow, especially over the hills. In the south, it will be rain that we see as temperatures again here reach double figures. But again, further north, of that colder air returning, 5 or 6 at best, add on that wind, and it will once again feel closer to freezing. So a cold feel returning to much of the northern half of the country as we head into Sunday, and there are warnings in place. Make sure you keep up to date with those weather warnings. Subscribe to our YouTube channels and you'll never miss a forecast.
Thank you very much, Alex, there for the national weather forecast. Doesn't look too good tomorrow. It looks a bit wet and mild again. I'd rather have this drier, crisper, cooler weather than the wet stuff myself. So let's see what we've got in store for Weymouth the week ahead. As it shows on the weather widget there up, some rain tomorrow, but most of the rest of the week is going to be sort of fairly mild with sunny spells and periods of overcast cloud. So hopefully not too bad. As we get towards the end of the week, the nighttime temperatures will start to drop again and it will start to get colder. So let's move on to the traffic and travel news. Quite busy on the traffic and travel news. There are roadworks on Portland Road as it comes off of the causeway into Wyke Regis, and there are going to be traffic lights there for a lot of the period, and they will be there up to the 4th of March. So there's going to be some significant delays, I suspect, on the Beach Road over the next 3 weeks or so. Buxton Road, there's also two-way traffic lights at times there until the 25th of February. Wessex Water are working this week in Newstead Road, and there'll be traffic signals. Cleveland Avenue, Nightingale Drive, Medway Drive and Church Road. SGN in Australia Road, Lakeside Gardens and Chelbury Close, and Scottish and Southern in Albany Road, The Rise at Saith Hill and Mead Road. Now, turning to the trains are still on a reduced timetable, although they have said this week that they are hoping to return to a standard timetable soon. So maybe there'll be some good news next week on that front. But at the moment, while they're on a reduced timetable, they certainly recommend checking before travel. The Journey Check website is the recommended website. For Great Western Railway, it's journeycheck.com/Great Western Railway. And for South West Railways, it's journeycheck.com/SWR. Excuse me. And now turning to what's on. Busy times at the Pavilion as usual. Lots coming up at the Pavilion. 10th of February, Go Now Music on the Moody Blues. 11th of February, the Jersey Beats. 12th of February, Rave On, the Rise of Rock and Roll. 13th of February, Solve Along a Murder She Wrote. That sounds an interesting one. I haven't had the chance to look at the detail of that, but it looks like some murder mystery type thing. 16th of February, Shakespeare by the Sea. 17th of February, Friends, the musical parody. And 18th of February, the UK Rock and the UK Rock Show. So there's just about something every day at Weymouth Pavilion. What a fantastic service they provide down there. More information on their website, weymouthpavilion.com, or by telephone the box office on 01305 783 225. Now, we were talking about the No Thought a short while ago. They started to put up their details for the next few months. February the 15th to the 27th, there's a top secret half-term spy mission. Obviously, there's something for families and children. March the 19th and 20th will be their science festival. April the 9th to the 16th, Easter festivities at the Noth, and they'll be involved in Dorset Arts Week on May the 21st to 29th. And other things starting to come up later in the year, like their Victorian festivals, etc. So do watch out for that. Of course, the Queen's Diamond Jubilee is coming up, as mentioned by Janet earlier in the programme. And if you are planning a tea party, a concert, or some other event, do let us know. We do want to share it with people. We do want to let people know what's coming up so that you get a good attendance at your event. And we are here for the community, so do let us know what's going on. news@whiteregis.tv is the email, and we will share it with everybody. Now it's film review time, and this week a little bit different. Having heard this week that a film that we trailered earlier in the year has been nominated for 11 BAFTA awards. Fantastic. Nominated for 11 BAFTA awards. It's Denis Villeneuve's star-studded sci-fi epic called Dune. And it's landed an absolute raft of nominations for technical things, for top prize of best film, as well as best cinematography and best adapted screenplay. So it's up for lots of awards. The sci-fi epic, which stars Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac and Zendaya, was partly shot in Abu Dhabi. Obviously lots of desert scenes with its massive, vast open landscapes. We'll see some of that in a minute. Now, in the film, it was adapted by the book series of the same name by Frank Herbert. We're going to remind ourselves of that film just now. Here we go.
My planet Arrakis is so beautiful when the sun is low. Rolling over the sands, you can see spice in the air. The outsiders ravage our lands in front of our eyes. Their cruelty to my people is all I've known. What's to become of our world? Paul.
Oh boy!
Hey, Duncan, can I trust you with something?
Yes, always, you know that.
I've been having dreams about a girl on Arrakis. I don't know what it means.
Dreams make good stories. But everything important happens when we're awake. Hey, you want some muscle?
I did?
No.
We are House Atreides. There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
Smile, Gurney.
I am smiling.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides accepts!
I know you. There's something awakening in my mind.
You need to face your fears.
Come with me. You need to be ready. You've never met Harkonnens before. They're not human, they're brutal.
The Duke's son sees too much.
This is why June killed them all.
God in heaven.
Get everything with guns off the ground! Go!
This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
Dad, what if I'm not the future of House Atreides?
A great man doesn't seek to lead. He's called to it. But if your answer is no, you'll still be the only thing I ever needed you to be. My son. If anything happens, will you protect Paul?
With my life.
Only together can we stand a chance.
It's time.
Well, there we go. That's Dune, up for 11 BAFTA awards, and it certainly is a sci-fi epic with lots of special effects, and yeah, up for the best film as well. So we wish them well. And actually, since learning that it is nominated for all those BAFTAs, I've learned that Dune Part 2 has been confirmed, and it's planned for release in October 2023. So I guess if they get lots of nice awards, that's really going to help them promote Part 2 of Dune as well. Well, here we go. We're at the end of another programme. It goes so quickly, doesn't it? Each week comes and goes and the programme goes so quickly. But just a reminder before we go, regular services tomorrow at All Saints Church, 8 o'clock and 9:30. The 9:30 is live streamed as usual. St Edmund's Church at 11 o'clock. And of course, this evening at 7:30, in just a short while, we'll be having our usual Saturday evening quiz. The stream goes live at 7:15. The quiz starts at 7:30. Do join us. It's there for everyone. It's free. It's just a bit of fun. We can all extend our knowledge, and each week I'm learning things, I have to say. And it's there for you. So do join us tonight. But if not, let us know your stories during the week or anything you want to tell us about, events that are coming up. And we look forward to being with you again next Saturday at 6 o'clock. I hope you have a good week. Bye for now.